At Enterprise Connect, we're all about innovation in the UC space, but every once in a while, we get to play matchmaker, which is why I love this next guest, who can speak about the merger of two of the giants of unified communications. I'm with Mr. Patrick Joggerst. I always want to say Joggerst, but it's Joggerst, the CMO and EVP of Business Development at Ribbon Communications, which is a brand new company. Thank you very much for coming on again, Patrick.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
I think this is the fourth straight year I've had a chance to speak with you.
I believe so.
Yep. And every year we get a bit more. Now, last year you were with GenBand.
Correct.
This
That's right.
year you're with a brand new company, although it's not really a brand new company. Tell me about Ribbon.
Sure. Ribbon is a new brand for two companies that came together, GenBand and Sonus Networks. So we announced the merger last May, and we actually effected it at the end of October, October 24th, and we actually ended up with a new brand 2 days later. So we worked furiously over the summer in terms of doing a lot of integration planning between the two companies, making sure that we had our act together, ready to hit the market strong as the combined company and when the deal closed in Q4. And we achieved that objective. You see, putting these two companies together, GenBand's market strength in media gateways and soft switches, Sonus very deep expertise in session border controllers. Of course, we have GenBand had session border controllers as well. But we have one of the broadest portfolios now of real-time communications and network transformation, serving large enterprises as well as large carriers of anyone in the industry right now.
Sometimes you hear about these mega mergers, you hear about these acquisitions, and it's not always a great fit. The cultures clash, the strategies aren't quite there. You seem to have done something with Ribbon where you were actually able to pull in the best of brand from both companies.
Yep.
What is it about those two companies that just made it a good fit?
I think we got very similar DNA, right? We both literally came out of whole cloth about 20 years ago and involved just in real-time communications. We both had a very similar strategy the path that we were on, which is probably the most important thing. We were moving away from hardware into a completely software virtualized kind of environment. We were both looking to how do we move from a purely license-based model to have more kind of SaaS offerings in our portfolio as well. So in terms of two very, very similar visions of the future and of the industry. So putting the two companies together is something that frankly we've been talking about for many years. So there was a strong relationship and familiarity among and between the management teams of both companies. So culturally it was a really easy fit as well. That I think made a big world of difference in terms of putting these two companies together, making it seamless for our employees as well as our customers.
Now let's talk a little bit about that combined DNA, because one of the things that came out of that merger, out of the creation of Ribbon, is what I'm going to say a very unique perspective, which is going to say a lot about the industry, and that perspective is security first.
Yes.
Ribbon is all about security, which we've seen has killed some wonderful solutions. There have been some fantastic suites that have come out of these halls where security was added on afterwards. It was just sort of tacked in. It was something that you did when you had time, and then suddenly your tool doesn't seem so efficient. It doesn't seem so user-friendly. Ribbon has said, no, security first. We will build in our DNA all of our products so that they are secured before they get released. Why is that so hard to do?
I got to tell you, I think it really has something to do with corporate intent and having the intellectual property and the experience and kind of the management wherewithal to make sure that you put that as a major focus for the company. What we found is with the introduction of SIP across the board, there's a tremendous amount of vulnerability, particularly in unified communications world, that a lot of carriers and a lot of enterprises really aren't focused on right now. We've actually introduced at last couple of weeks a new product called Ribbon Protect. It's actually a service offering, and what we've said is, look, we need to make sure that we can protect these SIP flows across the board, and we need to look at various ways that a bad actor can get into the network, whether it's through a session border controller, whether it's through a firewall, and take those lines of defense and put big data analytics on top of it, and be able to look and see what's happened. If there's any kind of an attack happening in the overall network at all, to be able to close it down as quickly as possible by using policy enforcement. investment. So it's really a holistic approach. Of course, we have our own session border controllers, as we talked about, but we interoperate with every other vendor session border controller as well. So this is truly a vendor agnostic approach. It's something that we feel is going to be a strong differentiator for the industry, and we've really gotten some very good feedback from both enterprises and carriers alike thus far.
And I have to say, it says a lot about your C-suite that they're willing to do that. Because when you go security first, and when you go security as a foundation, it doesn't make the deliverables as easy, and it does push back schedules. So the fact that they're willing to do that at the start of a project, that inspires confidence.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, very much. We're very proud of that fact. And again, I think it really comes back to the fact that part of our DNA. Or so, we've invested a lot in our intellectual property over the years. Both companies have been acquired a fair amount of intellectual property from other companies, and we want to protect that investment, and we want to protect the investment that our customers are making in our technology as well.
Okay, one last question. Last year when I spoke with you, you were very excited about Kandy.
Yes.
Kandy was GenBand's baby. It was something that was very unique. It was an API that allowed me to basically change the tool to the things I needed it to do. Kandy still exists in Ribbon.
Yep.
What's its future in the company?
It's really one of our biggest growth engines that we have for the company. When you consider both Kandy in terms of providing a communications platform as a service, being able to embed real-time communications into workflows, that's where unified communications is going. If we were still talking about just a PBX replacement and putting that in the cloud, that is absolutely yesterday's problem. That's come and gone. Now it's really going beyond unified communications, not just taking those PBX functions and making it available from a cloud architecture. It's actually saying, how do I actually impact the way every employee inside of an enterprise can do business? You never want to have to go out of an app that you may be immersed in to be able to make a phone call or reach out and to either text or dial in an expert. You should be able to do that in context, in real time, in the application, and that's what Kandy's all about.
Someone once told me that it was real unified communications. It was taking what we've come to think of unified communications, and actually making it unified with all of our applications.
That's absolutely right, and ubiquitous on pane of glass. Whether you're on your own mobile device, those applications are going to be there. They need to be there. Millennials are going to require it right now. You can't be tethered to any one particular device, and that application needs to have real-time communications embedded in it.
Patrick, it's been an absolute pleasure once again. I'm sure I'll sit across from you next year at Enterprise Connect. Now, if you could, please tell the folks at home where they can find you, where they can find Ribbon, where they can find out more about Kandy.
Absolutely. Please go to www.ribboncommunications.com. I'm Patrick Joggerst, 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 at rbbn.com. Happy to follow up any questions people have.
We've been speaking with Patrick Joggerst, the CMO and EVP of Business Development at the new Ribbon. I want to thank you for following along. Don't forget that we've got plenty more videos down in the corner there. Go ahead and find out what else is happening at Enterprise Connect 2018.